All right, welcome back to another Elevated Marketing podcast. I'll have to admit today's topic is a fun one for me. For those that don't know, I have a degree in psychology. What does that have to do with reverse engineering marketing from business goals? I'm going to tell you.
Simply put, it means everything.
Well, it's really about this topic to me is about perspective. And often who is doing the marketing, the marketer has a different role and different languages and a different mindset than someone who is either the business owner themselves, or they're the one that has to report to the business owner, and they talk different languages. And so for me, the psychology is trying to understand how, somebody with a business mindset and someone with a marketing mindset, how can we talk the same language? How do we reverse engineer marketing from business goals?
I think that's very simply put, because it does maybe sound like an intimidating topic, reverse engineer marketing, but I think you described that perfectly.
Well, if you're in marketing, you might think you're thinking more in terms of content calendars, campaigns, creative. And when you're talking to someone that is more at the C suite level, um, those sound like things. They don't sound like results. And someone who's kind of business minded, they have to see the trees through the forest, and so they're thinking more about the end goal. Their goals are, to drive revenue and grow the business on a large scale.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of other stuff in between.
Yeah. And we as marketers have to meet those people where they are and speak their language in order to really get down to what is our common goal. And then we as marketers decide, how are we going to get there? How are we going to achieve that? And that's what you were talking about, like moving backwards from what that goal is, or maybe what that pain point is, and then solving from there.
Yeah, and even leaders sometimes maybe they're talking to a marketer, and they want to speak their language, and they're like, well, we need more followers. We need more brand awareness. That is very broad and wide scoped, and it's a question game.
It is a lot of questions, but questions are good. If we didn't ask questions, then we wouldn't be doing our job.
Yeah, you got to be super intrigued by understanding and solving what the actual problem is. So when I mean very specific goals, I mean I need to increase qualified opportunities from your tier 2 markets because tier 1 is saturated. That's pretty specific. You identified a problem, and then you can reverse engineer, well, what is the marketing that I need to do to reach tier 2 markets, because it might have been different than tier 1.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I think of that working with a client recently, and they have a product slash service that can be applied to a lot of different people. And then the fact that it could be applied to different people, and then within those people there's a lot of different products and services they can offer, that identifying within that which one of those are the most profitable and perhaps they're struggling with the most,
Mm-hmm.
that's a goal.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And there's also maybe too, I mean, let's say one service, it's more expensive to get those leads versus another. Well, maybe that service that's more expensive is just now, it's not profitable. okay, well then let's switch gears a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So let's let's go through some examples and kind of reverse engineer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say somebody would say, "Well, we're not generating enough leads." The follow up to that is going to be, what exactly are you not closing? So maybe they have product A, B, and C, and when you dig a little bit more, it's not that they're not closing leads, they're not closing, product B very much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the next question could be, well, what kind of leads are you getting too many of? Like, do you get leads of clients that are, wanting something cheap? Like, talking through that. I always think in the terms of processes. So, like, okay, well, walk me through your sales process. What's the last thing that people do when you start to really dig into topics like that? You uncover where there was missed opportunity, and because I think no matter what, um, sales they're trying to shortcut things, and rightfully so, probably because they have goals, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I mean, we know that, if maybe sales is struggling a little bit, well, that's when we really come together, which we're always working together with sales, but we need to identify, okay, how can we help that process go just a little bit smoother? How can we help them out with
yeah.
messaging, creative content? That's where we work backwards after hearing those pain points and asking those questions.
Yeah, we could be attracting the wrong audience. So,
Mhm.
for instance, let's say, there's a consistent pattern in lost deals from a certain industry, a certain company size, a certain buyer title. All three of those have different types of messaging that you would want to adjust, and different types of targeting in order to make the marketing work better. And so asking those will kind of get it to the next stage.
Mhm. Definitely.
Another one I think about is just like, let's say deals are stalling at the proposal stage. Well, if it's stalling at the proposal stage, maybe marketing could help with the language that you are using. We had a client yesterday where, you know, maybe in their process they're seeing that clients are getting confused when they're trying to book or pay, and we're going to get in and look at the language that's being used and the technology that's being used to make that process smoother and easier and really meeting them where they're at.
That's where I was gonna go with that too, is what what can we do as marketers to help that process further along? Because chances are whatever needs help there, we're trying to push in our messaging presently. And so we want to make sure that it's equal on both sides and it's consistent with one another and overall user experience, audience experience, whatever it may be.
Yeah, yeah. Another one I could see is like when you're winning deals, but only when you're discount heavy.
Mhm.
Um, so, sub questions to that to like try to get those vague gaps is, do buyers perceive your offering as interchangeable with competitors?
Mhm.
When you're selling off of price, then it really just becomes this price or this price. And
Yeah.
that's gonna cause a never-ending race to the bottom.
Well, and I also think about the messaging that you're using too when you have some sort of promotion going on. If you're creating too strong of a sense of urgency, then maybe it's diluting the quality of your brand a little bit. And so then it's really only convenient or valuable when you're running a promotion. When in reality, the value should be standing in what you believe in as a business and the great service that you provide.
Well, and so that, and in business terms, is missing the long-term return on investment story that justifies your price.
Yep.
So they're just buying for that deal, and they're not understanding that long-term value. I, we had a client one time that had consistent quarterly pricing, and it's like you're just training your client to wait
Mhm.
for that discount to come, and that's where they maybe just in their minds are thinking just price and not value.
Yeah. Well, and it's hard to create long lasting customer relationships when you're only winning them because you're running a discount.
Yeah. Um, Other ones that I think about is, sometimes you'll get from sales saying that, like, we don't have anything we can use. And, someone from the marketing team is, I also think of, like, do sales and marketing share the same definition of a qualified lead?
Yeah, that to me, like that statement of we don't have anything to use is just a direct correlation of miscommunication.
You're not understanding, you know, has that. Then I think the marketer, like, have you actually shadowed like a real sales call in the past 60 days? Have you kind
Yeah.
of heard what they've said, or have you asked the questions to trying to get that?
Hmm.
Does the marketing or does the sales team have good, like, things that they can follow up with because you created marketing pieces that are available? um, I think those are good things to kind of think about too.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And it really does go back to creating that good customer service experience from start to finish, where it's maybe starting with marketing, ending with sales, but there's got to be that tie in the middle where both are meeting together.
Yeah, it's not about tactics first, it's about truth first. So we do a lot of healthcare, and maybe you have long wait times in some departments, and so first trying to figure out, where are the pains. You talked about that, and
Hmm.
empty schedules and others. Like, sub questions to that is, well, which locations or specialties are overbooked and which ones are underbooked?
Yep. Yeah.
Which providers are maxed out, why others are underutilized? Um, is scheduling friction, like just scheduling on the website, is that causing people, like,
Mhm.
marketing terms were like user experience? Like,
Yeah. Well, and it's maybe we're trying to saturate too much of one area because there needs to be communication of, all right, we're solid here, we're booked up, we're scheduled. Let's put some more emphasis over here.
yeah. The business implication I think about there too is, like, marketing isn't just about demand gen, it's about demand distribution. You may be over promoting saturated services while underutilizing high margin ones.
Yep.
It's just a mind shift of trying to think about it from a different perspective.
Yes, for sure.
How about, like, when you, and some of these things you might not, I'm getting ready to get one, and I think about this, I'm like, they might not think that that is a marketing problem, but it
Mhm.
absolutely is. It's patients are no showing or canceling at high rates.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is maybe a marketing message really hit, but once they went through the process, or maybe they received some confirmation emails, or they didn't receive any, it's just all about maybe there's a lack of consistency throughout that's causing them to drop.
Well, are there reminders going out?
Hmm.
Through what type of channels? Is it text messaging? Is it phone calls?
Hmm.
Is the prep instructions, like, not getting served out, so they're not really sure what they do? It really could, it's not just like an operational problem. It really could be a marketing and messaging problem, and something in the journey where people are dropping off that you need to go revisit.
Hmm. For sure. And I mean, if you think about maybe what they saw last in terms of marketing, and maybe that's what got them to schedule that appointment, then it's really reading the data, working backwards, and how else can we push that messaging out that's actually working in order to keep them and have them show up for their appointments.
Yeah, so I have to mention some service-based ones. I'll hear this a lot is somebody's booked out,
Mm-hmm.
but their profits are not growing. So they've got lots of work on the books, but they're just not growing their profits. And it's quite possible that you're selling high effort, low margin services instead of high margin ones. And so you don't have a lead problem, you have a service mix and positioning problem. You're maxed out on the wrong type of work.
Yeah. And I know we've already mentioned some discounting, but maybe you continue to discount just to keep your schedule full. And I know we discussed that, but just another reminder, I guess, there.
Well, and so marketing has to highlight outcomes, not task, shift from what we do to what we fix.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is going to get you further along than going the other way. So, um, I think we could go back and forth, and I think we're going to on the blog post
Yeah.
to talk about like all these different examples, because when you kind of read through them, it just we're not trying to knock on marketing terms, although I will knock on the fact that we come up with new terms all the time that mean the same thing.
Yeah, and it's exhausting. Trust me, we're tired of it too. I mean,
it's like, what does that really mean? I remember when I first started into marketing and being at events, and I'd hear what people say, and I'm like, I'm such a practical person that I'm like, yeah, but what does that mean?
mm-hmm.
What does that mean? You actually, branding.
Just call it what it is.
Yeah.
I'd say we need a book of marketing synonyms, but that would probably change as well. The title of it. I mean,
I'm loving the fight right now over what to call AEO, like or SEO, or like it's just everybody. I think the latest one I heard this morning was LLM optimization. It's like, we're just confusing people, guys.
people are just trying to coin terms to say that they came up with something at this point.
There you go. Well, and that's probably where we have this mismatch of marketing to business goals, because they are different. When you get into actually optimizing your marketing, yeah, there are terms within there that make sense and you need to talk about. But when you're speaking with a person that is very much tied to the business goals, you got to speak their language in order for it to make sense.
Yeah, that's ultimately what that comes down to in order to reverse engineer these marketing strategies and goals, and then we all live happily ever after.
All right. If you enjoyed today's show, certainly head over to our website at elevatemarketing.solutions and sign up for our newsletter. Or you can follow me on LinkedIn, Jennifer Denny. And I hope you have a great day. All right. Take care now.